So it's time to review another 1970s classic, the science fiction sports film Rollerball, starring James Caan, directed by Norman Jewison and based on the novel by William Harrison called Rollerball Murder. The film was released in 1975. The movie takes place in the year 2018. The game has become the new national and indeed global pastime. The game takes place in a large circular arena, like an indoor cycling track, complete with banked walls. Players traverse the course on either motorbikes or skates. The object is for your team to get possession of the metal ball and get the ball into a goal being defended by the opposition. It's a rough game, brutal in fact, a real gladiatorial spectacle. James Caan brilliantly plays Jonathan E., the most famous and successful rollerball player ever. He plays for the Houston team, and he's the undefeated champion of the sport. He's had an incredible career, but the executives of the sport want him to retire, which Jonathan does not want to do. Mr. Bartholomew is the chairman of the Energy Corporation and the sponsor of the Houston team. He tells Jonathan about the purpose of rollerball as a cultural spectacle. It has a definite social purpose. Because nations of the world are bankrupt and gone, even the corporate wars are over, but a small elite managing everything on the planet, energy, housing, transport, food, communication, luxury, they make the decisions on a global basis for the common good. All this executive class wants is that people like Jonathan not get in the way of management decisions. Jonathan already has issues with the executive class because his wife was taken from him. An executive wanted her, and so he was forced to give her up. It appears in this world the energy company has essentially consolidated pretty much all other corporations on Earth and created a one-world order in which anything that poses an obstacle to its plans inevitably gets eliminated. That includes nations and even other popular sports. Jonathan visits his friend and former coach Cletus and asks him to find out anything he can about why he's being asked to quit. Jonathan believes something is going on. Some changes are being made to the sport of rollerball. Jonathan wants to read up on the energy company and its history, but he finds that the books he wants are classified. All he can get are summaries of the books, and the original ones are all digitized on a computer in Geneva. For the next rollerball game, the rules are changed to make it more dangerous, with no penalties and limited substitutions. This is all done as a means of encouraging Jonathan to finally retire, or potentially that he's injured such that he will be forced to retire. Cletus tells Jonathan that the corporation are afraid of him. Bartholomew tells Jonathan that no one player is greater than the sport itself. Ultimately, the game against Tokyo becomes extremely violent due to the rule changes. It's brutal, a lot of injuries, to the point where Jonathan's friend and teammate, Moonpie, is critically injured and brain dead. He's in a coma. Jonathan refuses to have Moonpie's life support machine shut off and makes arrangements to have him taken home to receive medical treatment. In a teleconference call with other executives, Bartholomew outlines the purpose of rollerball, to demonstrate the futility of individual effort. They even try to bribe Jonathan by giving him his wife back, but he rejects her in the end because he knows that she's just working for them. He refuses to quit when she tells him to. He plays in the final against New York, where it's an all-out bloodbath, and there's no time limit on the game, and so Jonathan must battle to the death to be the last man standing. After seeing off all other players, he scores the game's only point. The crowd is stunned to silence at the unbelievable violence they've witnessed. They begin to chant his name as he skates defiantly around the arena. The film ends. We don't know if he quit rollerball or if he continued, but the message is clear. The man was never defeated, not by his opponents in the game or the corporation that wished to end his career. Rollerball deals with the themes of the corporatization of entertainment media, our society's unhealthy obsession with sports and frivolity, and the glorification of violence. But ultimately, the point of rollerball is to demonstrate the futility of an individual's effort, so that people believe that no one man alone can make a difference in this world. The longer that Jonathan's successful career continues, the more he becomes an individual superstar, almost bigger than the game itself. Perhaps the corporation are afraid of him because Jonathan represents the incredible potential and ability of a single man to overcome extraordinary adversity, and through sheer force of will, he can make a difference in the world. The system does not want mavericks or heroes. It fears anything or anyone that can operate autonomously outside of their control. Mass nonconformity would be the biggest threat to the ruling class. The film accurately predicted the rise of monopolistic corporatization and the inevitable centralization of political power and control that follows. In many respects, Rollerball the sport is also an example of the bread and circuses effect. The energy company manages to keep the population in a compliant, docile, and ignorant state by providing them with all of their basic needs, along with endless entertainment in the form of the most popular sporting spectacle ever created. Ultimately, the purpose of Rollerball, to demonstrate to the masses about the futility of individual effort, it might indicate the concerns of the ruling class. They carefully manage the entire world's resources and the needs of the population, and by this they control them. But their control and power could be threatened by a charismatic individual, a leader who could inspire the public to think differently to the rigid system of authoritarianism they live under. One person, one man capable of free thought and with a will all of his own, rebelling against the energy company and their demands. Something like this could one day lead to other people also choosing to dissent, and that, as history has shown, could lead to an eventual revolution. Rollerball is a very interesting concept. I really enjoyed this movie, and I think it's an absolute sci-fi classic. Well worth watching. Thanks for watching this video. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and I'll catch you next time. Bye-bye.